Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the American Masterminds Podcast.
Each episode, we invite extraordinary guests who are masters of their craft. They're innovators, entrepreneurs, and of course, motorcycle enthusiasts who have made their mark in the world.
They share their stories, insights, and hard-earned wisdom, giving you a front row seat to the strategies and experiences that shape their successes.
So sit back, grab a drink, and get ready for an exhilarating ride as we dive deep into the minds of these exceptional individuals.
Along the way, we'll uncover powerful strategies, gain fresh perspectives, and explore the limitless possibilities of what it takes to be an American mastermind. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the American Masterminds Podcast. I'm your host, Topher Sheeler. I am joined by my co-host, Mr. Rob Adams.
What up, what up?
We got Alec Langdon up on the soundboard. There's his hand. And ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special guest for you this evening. I guess it's not this evening. This is our first morning podcast,
It's a morning
isn't it?
podcast.
Morning podcast. Wake up and go. Here we go. We have Master David Garvey from Karate Riverton. Rob, this might be the first podcast we're going to have to actually watch what we're saying.
Watch your mouth,
there might
brother.
Be consequences.
Watch your mouth. You know, something you say every time there, Topher, is that we have a very special guest. And something I've really liked about the American Masterminds is every time it's a very special guest. But I'm exceptionally excited to have Dave our Master Garvey on the podcast today because, number one, I admire you so much on so many levels in life with your family and your spouse and your fitness and your art. And I say art because this guy, watching him making the moves, doing the karate is really, it's inspiring. And so I'm glad to have you on the podcast. Let's start from the beginning. What do you say?
Well, you got it. Let's do it.
So you're a young man. You're sitting at home eating gummy bears, and you're like, I should do karate. Is that how it went?
Actually, so the funny part is it didn't go like that. I actually, I was the kind of kid in junior high school that had the braces, big old glasses, and, I got called middle face, middle mouth, four eyes, windshield wipers. Yeah, and I was getting picked on a little bit. And there were some few kids that would, give me the punch everyday love.
So it was more bullying than even
a
just
little bit bullying. Yeah.
So here you're being bullied, and you're like, I got to do something about this.
Yeah, and so I was like, you know what? I don't want to be the victim anymore. And so I started doing martial arts, and started building up my confidence. And I was sitting there and looking at this kid that was always the bully. He thought he was the tough dude of the class, and got enough confidence to stand up to him. And that was the best part. When I stood up to him, and I'm just like, this is enough. I need you to stop. And I've been doing martial arts. Excuse me. I've been doing martial arts for probably, couple, maybe 6 months, 8 months. And that's where I got the confidence. I'm like, I'm going to stand up to this kid. And all of a sudden, I just looked at him. We just stopped, just said, this is enough. And that was the day him and me started respecting each other. And it just went from there. And that's when he just said, I had the confidence to just look at him going, I'm going to knock you out if you don't knock it off. And he was like, holy cow, this kid actually respects now, like believes in himself. So that's where I started. Then it just went from there.
And so here we are. We're moving the clock forward. You get into it. You're learning about it. You're feeling the confidence. What was your training like? Like, tell me something about your journey along the road of training.
The journey, I started with this company, United Studios Self-Defense, and I loved it. Let me go back a little more. I used to have a gentleman. I don't remember his last name. His first name was JD, and I have total respect for this guy. And he used to come to my basement, and he would teach me and my brothers and a couple friends in my basement, and he would come every Saturday. Well, I think eventually it's like that was a lot of hard work for him to do that. He wasn't charging a lot. He was fun. He taught me the basics, the fundamentals of martial arts, and that's what made it fun for me. So eventually he goes, hey, I'm going to be stopping. I won't be teaching karate anymore. And I wanted to go somewhere else, so I found United Studios. I rode my bike by one day. I'm like, I might go in there and try it. And I did one class. One of my good friends was doing it with me, was doing it already. And that's what really pushed me, and then I just signed up, and I've been doing it ever since. I started probably when I was 13 years old at United Studios, and I've been just doing it since, and it's been a best thing I've ever done. So,
Really formed your life. You've told me about some adventures. You've gone to China.
yes.
How many times have you traveled there?
Oh, China. I've been there. I went to China because I wanted to. My company goes, we're going to go see the Shaolin monks of China. These guys, I think, to me, top notch, world's best martial artist
The Shaolin
in the world.
monks.
Yeah.
Huh. And what makes them so good?
You know what? They get to train. I wish I could do it. They get to train 7 days a week, so as many hours as they can. And it's just fun because the spiritual feeling you get there, it's been around for hundreds and hundreds of years. And they dedicate their life to doing the martial arts. It's like, like basketball here or in America, but that's sort of the big thing there is martial arts. And it's just neat to see how these guys move. They're probably the fastest people I've ever seen move, and it's just impressive. So when I go there and train and I get to see it, it was one of the best honors in the world, too.
It's also their mental makeup.
Oh my God.
Those guys are kind of, they're on a different level.
Oh my gosh, they break steel over their heads.
Yeah.
They can put
Like no pain.
yeah, they just do stuff. I'm like inhuman. You're like, well, how in the heck? And it's neat. It's really neat to see it. And it's like they believe they can go further past. And I'm like, defy the law of gravity almost. It's like they run across the wall and you're like, what the heck? How did they run across that wall?
Wow.
But they can do it.
How is it spiritual? You use that word. I find that word fascinating in a physical discipline.
So part of martial arts is meditation, and it's calming the body. And we even though we don't do a lot of it in martial arts, you do a little meditation at the very beginning, where we sit down and we sit down and just close our eyes, breathe in, breathe out. You focus the mind. Well, when you go to the place spiritual, like in China, they have these sacred rooms that have been around for hundreds of years. And there's this one room, what really was spiritual is a training room that the Shaolin monks train in. And they trained so hard, there was like these little divots in the ground from stomping so hard on the ground. It was amazing. And I got to be in this room because now it's like a tourist kind of place too. But they let us walk through this room and, we got to train a little bit, stomping these little things that have been stomped thousands and thousands of times. So there's birds up in the rafters, and you're like, oh my gosh, it's just amazing feeling. Huh. It was just, you could feel the energy of all these monks, past monks that have been there. It's amazing. Huh. So that's why I say spiritual, because that's just feeling the energy from these past trainers. So
when you're in there and you're doing this training, I mean, you've now been doing karate for 10, 15 years when you're going over to China.
Yep,
Obviously,
yep.
You're very committed to the art. You're stepping in there. Do you feel like you're kind of back rookie level again when you go in and see these guys?
That's one thing I've always loved about martial arts. So I love having someone like a master that knows quite a bit of martial arts above me too. I had this my master's will show me a way of doing it, and same kind of drills but different ways of doing it. So I'm always learning. I always want to feel like I'm growing. I'm not a Mr. Know-it-all. I won't ever say that because there's so much to learn. One of my masters goes, if you learned everything about the martial arts, it would take you almost 3 to 4 lifetimes to understand what you're actually really doing. And it was really neat because there's always room to grow.
It's interesting there's so many disciplines in martial arts. Like if you really master using your hands, well, there's a sword, and then there's even a fan. There's they've got a rope. You can use these. They've got the shaft, or what do you call that? The rod?
Bow staff.
The bow staff.
Yep.
All of these different things it's its own rabbit hole. And you could dive into these holes and go forever learning how to better
This one thing.
thing. Yeah. I go into into the dojo. I signed up for karate, not to deviate, but there's a gal there that's soothing the fan, and she does a sword, and I'm just like, what? And I look over on the wall. I'm like, I don't even know what most of those things are. What are they? And so I really admire the fact that as an art, you can choose your, if you are you like acrylics? Are you an oil painter, or do you like pencils or pen? Like there's so many modalities in karate where if someone says karate, you're like, no, it's endless.
Oh yeah.
It's
crazy.
crazy.
Oh yeah. Where up? Are we standing up? Are we on the ground? Are we?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah. There's so much, like I said, to learn. There's so much because it's endless.
And even further than that, karate, in my mind, and please, I've got my own questions. We'll get there after we get there.
Ask. I love.
But the other thing that I really like about karate, I didn't do martial arts growing up. I played baseball, okay? So I was doing other stuff. I didn't find martial arts until I was done playing baseball. I wish I would have started with that because to me, karate, the first phase, kids karate, is more of the discipline and how your body moves. And it's teaching, learn this, step 1, step 2, step 3. It's not really fighting at the young age, right?
It's coordination.
Coordination.
That's when I see these kids get coordination drills. Like I have kids that will do soccer and baseball on the side too, and they can say, hey, I actually use this, like I learned how to be more coordinated because of martial arts. So it's not just martial arts, you actually learn how to coordinate the whole body.
Yeah, you learn where your feet are at.
Exactly.
You learn where your hands
how
are
to
at.
move faster, how to be lighter on the feet. That's what martial arts is about, is helping in all areas.
And it's a structure and discipline. It's it's more than just these techniques.
Yeah.
It's bringing them in. It's the structure, working them through, and you graduate up processes.
Right in my eyes now.
Let's take a quick pause.
Yeah. And ladies and gentlemen, we're back for that short commercial break.
Sorry about the sun in the eyes.
So we were talking about you traveling to China. Where else have you traveled in your education?
So United Studios was basically started on the East Coast. They moved to the West Coast over into California, and then that's when I basically signed up with them. And like I said, I used to travel to California every other month and go train with my masters down there. And I still very good friends with my masters down there and everything too. But I just don't go as much now. Family,
Sure.
wife, takes time. So, but I used to go to California all the time and just train with my masters. We'd get a big old group together and just work out.
So here's the thing I'm thinking about. Like we've been doing it for, you said 25 years. You've been training, teaching, learning, growing in the art. Mm-hmm. What else? And I know you said 3 lifetimes, but like, what are you doing? Like, what is your goal? Like, if I load up and I head somewhere to a conference to learn more about my industry, like, I have to have a specific or attention. Otherwise, it's just gonna hang out with some friends. And what are you still learning? Like, where are you going with this?
So let's say here the martial arts steps. You got a white belt step or a black belt steps, and then it goes up degrees as higher. You can go up to 10-3 black belt. White belt, you're learning the fundamental of the basics. You're like block, punch. But how do you make that block punch more efficient? Because you got someone that's attacking you aggressively, going block punch isn't going to do it. You're going to be too slow. So to learn how to go, hey, I need a side step and then do block punch. Now as you get higher and higher, you don't just do block punch, then you put them together. Then it goes block punch same time. Okay, sometimes you punch before you block. So learning the timing of different angles or different levels of the martial arts, that's how you get that's the skill difference of like, okay, I learned it as a white belt, but now how do I change it so I'm a higher understanding of the martial arts?
So applying the basics, refining the basics, always refining.
And smoothing them out.
Okay.
Yep, that's how it works.
All right. So let me ask you this. Now you've traveled, you've opened up, and I know you had several different dojos across the area, and you're a businessman, you're an artist, you're doing all these different things. Here we are in Riverton, which is, it's a pretty we're doing okay out there. There's not a lot of bullying, I guess, or are you seeing that with the kids?
It's actually, you know what? I'm gonna be honest. If you go off that kind of bullying, I have my things I'm like, you know what? I wish schools would actually let martial arts in.
Yeah.
Schools should
be a sport.
It should actually be a sport. You
Like
know what?
PE.
They let football, they let wrestling. To be honest, those are more violent than even martial arts is.
Yeah.
And the way I look at it is let's go back to let's say Japan. Martial arts is part of the system. And how would it be if all of a sudden you're getting bullied and you're all being trained, but people learn different skill levels,
Sure.
They don't learn, they could learn the same thing, but this person might know how to apply it better than this person. This person might know how to time it better than that person.
Yeah.
So imagine if all of a sudden you're getting bullied and this kid goes, oh, I'm being bullied. All right, let's fight them. You don't know their skill level, you don't know their skill level now.
But the assumption is that everyone has a skill level.
That's the point. Now everyone has a skill level, so you don't know. But okay, instead of going, okay, we need to stop bullying. What happens if these kids were confident enough going, hey, I do know how to fight.
Yeah.
I do know. That's why I think
there has to be assumption. There would be the assumption that they know something.
Yeah, instead
And
of going,
they might be better than me. I might be bigger, but
Well, and I think it's even take it one step further. What you learn in martial arts is there's somebody out there that can kick your ass.
yes, there's always going to be
Always.
someone better.
And so
there's
the
always.
humbling that comes from it. You take the lower level of kids fighting with kids.
Yeah.
The teacher in the class is going to be able to take care of you, and
Yeah.
you learn that, and so it humbles you. The jiu-jitsu is one of the jiu-jitsu is one of the most humbling experiences I've ever had. There are people that can kick your ass, and they're this big around.
Yep.
I've been strangled out by a little
Oh,
girl
yeah.
all the time. You learn that stuff, and then it prevents
That's-
fights and bullying
exactly,
from
because
happening.
they believe they can do. I go now. I know what to do.
Right.
So when you say bullying, that's where I might go a little bit against school systems. I'm gonna be honest. I don't like how they're doing it.
let's talk about the fitness aspect of it. Like
Mm-hmm.
what I enjoy picking up and putting down heavy.
Oh my
things.
gosh, yeah.
It's something that really does for me. However, I'm not getting the cardio that I need, or the stretching, or the. Well, you said it. Where's my hands? Like my
Where's your dexterity?
my
and everything?
dexterity. Yeah,
Okay.
my ability to control my body is not being trained at all.
Yeah.
Who are you looking for? Because I've seen you look into those they're doing the classes at the gym, and he's just like, this drives me nuts because they're
Yep.
dancing around.
You know what? I'm like, okay, let's put it this way. I've been doing my style of martial arts, and I watch the people at the gym. I'm glad people are getting out and doing stuff.
Anything.
Any martial arts, I don't care what it is.
Yeah.
Because I even have my ups and downs about some martial arts styles. I'm like, But I think people just understand, just like you said, understanding what they're doing, the art or anything. That's where they just getting out there and doing something great. But I want people to understand. It's like I had a lady yesterday I was teaching. She goes, "What happens if I'm carrying my purse and someone grabs it?" I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that's what you want."
Yeah.
And she's like, "You want him to grab your purse?" I'm like, "Yeah, he just tied up one of his limbs, or she did, whatever. Now all you got to turn around. You don't have to deal with that limb anymore because he's holding you. Then you can take him out because you're right there. He's right next to you. He's in your bubble. Then you can just. Oh, I love it. Sorry.
I like it.
That's great.
It's so cool because that's all part of it, right? That moment of thinking when that happens, instead of just going straight to panic, if you've got a little confidence in what you're
That's
doing,
the point.
you
Yep.
can take 2 seconds, think about, limb's
Yep.
tied up. I can do something here.
Yep.
It's cool.
As long that's so reading all the history and all this stuff, it's like one of my biggest, like, I want people, I don't care what, like, how we do it, like, I want to get this out to the world. Like, how do we get people just go, I want to train for at least 2 years.
Yeah.
2 years of little experience, that's all it takes. Me, I'm like, I want people to train for 25. It should be part of your life to me. But if they had the confidence just to go, hey, someone grabs onto me, turn around, just smack them.
Yeah.
But most people freeze. And that's where the situations happen where I got attacked.
Well, that's what Conor McGregor said. He said this somewhere. The difference between really good elite fighters and guys that can't do it is 2 seconds.
That's all
it's 2 seconds of thought that happens before all of this stuff takes place.
Yep.
That's the difference.
Yeah, you're just reacting.
Right.
It's like if you see, it's like if you stand there, they're going to punch you.
Right.
But if you can actually just move to the side, put an arm up, it's that fast.
Well,
You-
if- If you know that stuff too,
Yep.
like the angle, he can't touch me here. If I take one step this way,
Yep.
I'm safe. And knowing that is so
Is
empowering.
that-
It's
yeah.
awesome.
And it's just being light on his feet, moving around.
Right.
Like Rob and me being even fighting, it's fun. I'm like, you and me are fighting today. He's like, okay. And we get in there. We have a blast. I'm like, dude, we're going to get in there. I kick him in the gut. He's like, whoa, what the heck? I'm like, okay, now you got to try following up. He hits me with his right arm because most people are right-hand dominant. So
Right.
it's real easy to know how to fight people.
Right.
Lefties, yeah, they're actually a little bit harder because you're not expecting. There's only what?
It's like 20%.
I think it's more than that, but it's not a huge percent of lefties.
Right.
I think it's like, what is it, 83% is right. You got 17% left. So not too many people are going to use a left arm. So you already know there's 50% of your fight right-handed.
Right.
Now you know they're going to attack more right-handed.
And where's that hand at?
Exactly.
Is it up or is
Yep,
it down? Is it
exactly.
coming straight or is it going to come around at you?
Yep.
If you
And
know that,
and
the
it's- yeah.
defense for it is pretty easy for a street
Yeah,
fight.
it really is. You can see it coming a mile away, especially when most people throw hook punches.
Right. Because they all load up
Yep.
right there, and it's coming around
Yeah.
here, which leaves a big old void right up
was
here
funny.
in front.
I think Rob and me were working out one time, and then I go, watch this, dude. I'm going to throw a hook punch at your head. I'm going to hit you if you don't block it. Okay? All you got to do, I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to do. Step to the side, raise your arm up. And I threw it pretty hard at your head.
Yeah.
And he just stepped aside, brought it up. I'm like, dude, I was coming almost full speed at you. And he's like, that was it? And I'm like, that was it.
But that's so empowering. That's so empowering because it takes the fear, like you have a thought that I could do something about any situation. You carry yourself different, which also deters people from messing with you. Like it's all a trickling down.
Yep. So Annie was showing houses in an apartment or condo complex, and there was a car that was driving around and around, and she saw him. She had Z with her, showing the house to her brother, and this gentleman in a car kept pulling around and driving nice and slow, and Annie went to get in her car, and this guy stopped behind the car. And so Annie quick jumped in the car, locked the doors, and started backing out like she was going to run him over. And what would she have done? What would she have done if he had got hands upon her? And the thing is that most of these predators are looking for someone to not do anything, to be a victim, to surrender, just to freeze
Yep.
and give in. I want Annie. I don't want her to be able to kick my ass. I'm actually kind of afraid of that. But what I would like is for if that guy were to roll up on her, she would not be the victim, and she would grab him by the throat or whatever came to her mind. She would have at least an idea to do something.
Right.
I think every person, male or female, it doesn't matter, needs to have one or two moves, and that's all it would take. One or two moves to say, I'm here. Let's do this, because these guys are bullies. They are looking for victim mentality. And if you could just do one or two things and you're thinking about it, then you're going to be okay. Also, I think that Annie has a different presence now. When she walks around, she's a badass. Like, she's not afraid to...
Sure hurts me. I'm like, damn, stop. Okay, hold on. I love it. I love it.
She's terrifying.
Yeah.
So I really, like, when I think who should be doing karate, the answer is everybody. I have 4 daughters. I wish all of my daughters were doing karate. I want to give them, like, here's a free... I'm paying for you to go for a month just to... Get a couple moves. I don't want you to learn how to be a black belt. I just want you to be able to defend yourself, and because it's just so very important. A year ago, I was going into my garage, and this is actually what got me started on karate. There was a guy in my wife's car. Did you know the story?
I did not. What?
I heard he was in your garage.
He was in my garage. He was in the car. I thought it was my brother-in-law. So I just got back from walking my dogs, and this guy was in the car. I thought it was my brother-in-law. So I'm like, hey, good morning. And he looks up, and I'm like, that's not my brother-in-law. And the guy slams the door and goes running off down the driveway. Well, I had just come walking. I'd been running for about 3 miles. I was warmed up, and for some reason, I decided to chase this fool. And so I chased him down the driveway. We run down the street. I live in a cul-de-sac. There's only really one way to go. He's running out of the cul-de-sac. We're cutting across the lawn, and I yell, "Sick 'em, Sadie!" Which my Labrador.
She was already winded, to be honest.
She's like, "What is that word? Sick 'em? Is that food?" But the guy turned around enough to lose his stride, and I caught him. And I tackled him, and we slid across the street up into the driveway. And it was on.
Wow.
It was on, and it's like...
You didn't tell me that whole story.
Still dark outside. It was still dark, and so, like, I had this moment of, like, there's not going to be a teacher come and pull us apart. There's not going to be, like, the coach is like, okay, that's enough, boys. No, it was like mano-y-mano, and we were throwing down, and I used to work in law enforcement, so I had a little bit of an advantage, and I was kicking the shit out of this kid. He got me a couple of good times. Like, he got a good kick in. He punched me in the face once, but for the most part, I was doing my thing, but I was winded. I'm not the linebacker.
You're not the cardio machine.
I'm not built for distance, bro. But tackling him, and we slid across the street. He jumped up. He was screaming so loud that all the neighbors came out, and I'm saying, call the police. They thought I was the aggressor. So they called the police. This guy jumps up and he runs down to his truck. I actually have pictures. Maybe you can attach the pictures to this podcast. But jumps in his truck. I got a picture of the back of his truck, and off he went. And I went back, and because I had tackled him, everything that he had stolen out of Annie's car and the other cars that he'd been in, his wallet, everything. It was like
his own wallet was there.
His wallet was there. So I opened it up. There's his name, Logan.
No kidding.
Wow.
So I called the police, and they came out, and I did the thing, but I had a moment of like, and the officer said this, he's like, so tell me the story. I told him the story. He's like, I wish more people could do that. He said, but don't ever do that again.
Yeah.
He's like, you could have been in a lot of trouble. What if you'd had a knife or a gun or something like that? And it really occurred to me, like, I am ill prepared to defend myself. And so I went to the gym, was where I met Dave, and I was telling you a little bit about the story.
Yeah,
like,
you just tell me little bits and pieces. That's new for all that. I didn't know that whole story.
Yeah, we went to Knuckle City, and anyway, I just had this moment of like, I'm a certain age. I really want to have that confidence. I want to be able to know if someone was breaking into my car and I found them in my house, whatever, I could do what I needed to do in order to handle my business, because it's important to me, not just to protect myself, but I have a beautiful wife and I have a beautiful family and I have beautiful things. And I just want to be able to just take care of business in a way that I can effectively neutralize the threat and not get injured.
Yep.
And you were like, well, you should come on in. And I did. And I've been going ever since. Like it was a game changer for me, because I really felt like if you're not consistently improving your ability to defend yourself, you will be a victim at some point.
Yeah, and see, that's what I always tell people too. It's like, if you don't keep it up, it goes away anyways too.
Yeah.
It's if you don't keep your skill going, anything you do, a foreign language or nothing,
playing the piano,
if you don't keep practicing, it's gone.
Yeah.
It'll disappear. So.
Yeah.
So I share that story with you because I think everybody is a prime demographic to be in karate or something.
Yeah.
Anything where you're learning how to defend yourself and learning how to like move your body and have that self-control and coordination is the word I was looking for. I am uncoordinated and I have terrible balance. I didn't know that about myself.
You're very top heavy. We
Yeah,
talked about
he
this.
actually has tight hips. His hips don't rotate as well. I'm like, dude, you got to loosen these hips up a little bit.
So I'm stretching and I'm doing these things, getting better. But I feel like even as I work out as much as I do, there's always an area for improvement. And this is something that I've never even considered before. Like I leave the dojo sweaty.
Yeah.
Which is
It's
cool.
awesome.
It is awesome.
It's a way better workout than you could ever possibly imagine.
You know what's funny? Like, okay, you see people treadmill and everything. My knees are starting to get worse, so I do the ellipticals and bicycles now. But yeah, I do them, but it's boring.
Yeah.
I get bored. I'm bored out of my mind. When I go to martial arts, we learn the art of martial arts. So you practice forms, stuff like that. I go through like 4 of those. Dude, I'm dripping.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm tired already. I'm like, all right, let's do the next one. That to me, I feel like I'm getting double the exercise, the cardio, than a treadmill, elliptical, bicycle. I'm like, no.
Well, sure, because it's functional.
And guess what? I'm using my brain
Yeah.
too.
Right.
My brain's part of it, and I'm having fun with it.
Yeah, and you also don't realize how hard you're working because you're
having a good
moving
time.
it and
And
whatnot. Not just sitting on the treadmill.
That's
ad
exactly
nauseum.
it too.
And the treadmill, the gym, and I love the gym, don't get me wrong, but the gym doesn't teach you to spin, look, kick,
Yep.
move. Mm-hmm. All of the things that need to happen in order to deliver a successful roundhouse kick, it's not happening. And so I'm engaging parts of my brain that have been turned off.
Yeah.
Or maybe never were turned on. And so,
No, I'm the exact same way, because that's what gets me excited, because I'm like, this is fun. This is where I get to have fun, get a good cardio, because if Rob knows me, I love working out. I love going to the gym. We got a little gym family. We go see each other. We're like, hey, what's up? How you doing? But then I go and people are always asking, you don't do cardio? I'm like, I don't have to. You're not here because I do it all day at work.
Right. Absolutely.
So that's the best part too. So
one of the other things that I find interesting about going into the dojo, as we call it, and I'm going to tell you, I'm a little skeptical about everything. I'm kind of if you've met me.
Oh yeah.
It takes a lot to convince me. When I first went in there, I'm like, I'll give this a shot. I'll be humble and go in and do it. They have classes that you can do at night. There's one-on-one classes that you can go to. And I am a man of a certain age where I'm not the rookie in the room. Hardly ever. I've done this probably. If I'm here, I've probably done this. And here I am standing, and this is the way the classroom's organized. It's black belts, Jedi Knights, ninjas,
I love it.
all at the front.
Yeah.
And then it kind of goes back, and it's kind of a graduated, if you can imagine a graph, it's like a graduated scale till there's like 12-year-old boys. They're all green belts and whatnot. And then there I am.
Just at the back.
At the back.
Yeah.
6'2", eyes of blue,
What am I doing? I don't know what
mouth
the hell.
breathing, freaking out these little 12-year-old boys.
Sweating on kids.
Just freaking these kids
Oh
out.
my gosh, it's awesome.
And I say this because I humbled myself because I am a believer in learning. I always want to learn. And so I had some fun with it. And there's times at the back of the room, like Dave could see me back there, I'd just be laughing.
Oh, yeah. He's like, what the hell am I doing? Yeah. I'm like, dude, just try it.
Just try it. Yeah. And I just felt ridiculous. And he's matching me up like I went from a white belt to a yellow belt. And I qualified that weekend with a girl named Lily.
She went from 13.
She was 13. And there, by the end of the, you have to do the moves and you have to do the thing. And then you have to do this. And, I'm like, you got this, Lily. Like, you got this. And then at the end, she's like, you got this, Rob. And her parents were there. Her mom and dad are there sitting over on the side. And I'm just like, my peer, this 13-year-old girl is like, you got this, Rob. You can handle it. You know what I mean? And the parents are looking at one another. I'm pretty sure I'm older than both mom and dad. And I could take them. I could beat their asses. I could handle them. But Lily,
it was hilarious. I love it.
It was humiliating. It was humiliating to me, and good for me.
Yeah.
At the same time, you know what I mean? Like I was really, like at the end of I was really very proud of myself and Lily. We both got our yellow belts, and we moved on. And this year I have a goal to get my orange belt. Like I don't have to ever be a black belt, and it's not really my journey.
It's not about the belts, really. That's just goal setting.
It's about goal setting. And a lot of times when we go in there, you're not teaching me a form again or this or that again. You're like, here's a practical application if someone grabs you from behind. Right. This is what happens if you get in someone locks you up your headlock, or someone throws that roundhouse punch. And it's like, I've had this happen to me before, and I had no options. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so it's good to be humble and go in and learn something new, I guess is where I'm headed with this. And always be, and I'm learning this as I've grown older, always be an active learner. Like, give it to me. I don't know. I'm glad I don't know. I'm glad to be around a pro like you. And this is where I'm headed with this whole thing. David, Master Garvey, I should say, does a great job at not making you feel dumb. My kicks are shitty. They're terrible. It's embarrassing. I go with Annie. We do karate together. But before I talk about that, Master Garvey's really good at being like, okay, now let's try this, or let's try that, or let's try this technique, or do it this way. And he does it in such a way that is, you're just a great teacher. It's like you're great at the art, but your skill is communicating clearly on how to make the move more smoothly. And what if this were to happen, Rob, and you like get my mind involved, where it's not just like do this again and again and again, and then you're done. It's actually practical applications on skills. And I love that.
Well, and I would imagine you have a lot of fun, like Rob. Yeah, Rob is not going to roundhouse kick anybody to the head. It's just, that's not going to be a tool in his arsenal. But finding that mix of tools that does work for somebody. And I would imagine you have a lot of fun with that.
Oh, see, this is what I love. It's like, like I said, I've been doing it long enough. I got so many masters I've learned from. It's been amazing. Like this one master goes, I can't roundhouse kick you in the head, but I'll blow your knee out when your head comes down to my level. Then I'll kick you in the head. I'm like, okay, that's a good point.
That works. Yeah.
I'm like, that works. That's awesome. So it was really neat to hear that, because I was like, dang, because even my kicks, I used to kick people in the head, now they're getting lower and lower. I'm like, dang it. My body's starting to get more stiff. I'm still keeping the flexibility up. That's one thing I love too, is keeping that flexibility.
Yeah.
But it's fun to learn how to adapt. Like Rob was saying, one thing I love that's neat to me is I do a lot of one-on-ones. I specialize in that more. Like you say, went to a group class, he had a blast, he loved it, but sometimes you get lost as a number. Mm-hmm. I don't like people feeling like they're lost as a number. I want to go, Rob, you and me, right now, we're working out. That's what I specialize in, because I want to cater to him going, this is what I need you to learn, and this is how we're going to do it.
Sure.
And he learns more, and he's like, no, that's what I want. Yeah, I'm working with you, Rob. This is you and me time. And I want him to understand what he's doing. I don't want to sit there. Some people, we do this and that, and they love it. But I want to cater. I cater my stuff to people. That's awesome. Because I can do. That's why I do the one-on-one with people.
The other part about the one-on-one that I really appreciate is I can be like, how come? Why?
Yeah.
I'm not very good at like getting the information and just assimilating it. I've got to be like, now why? Why would you do that? Mm-hmm. That doesn't make sense, because it seems like this makes you, and he'll be like, oh, great question. And we can go into it. I need to have.
I love questions.
And then you do that. And this. Is why.
Yeah, well, it's funny. It's funny. All of a sudden, I'll be doing that. I'll go, watch this. Do this 3 times, 5 times, whatever he does. He's like, I could see. He's like, what the hell am I doing? Right? And all of a sudden, I go, okay, now watch this. We put it into a technique. He's like, holy shit, that was awesome.
There it is.
that was what we're doing. He's like, okay, now that makes sense.
Sure.
And he's, because I'll punch in at him. I want, hey, let's practice. You got to do it on me. Do it now. And he's like, holy shit, this works. That's awesome. I wanted to see it. And I think that's why I fell in love with the art, because I'm a physical person. Like, I need to understand how all of it works too. I used to ask my masters, what's this? And they're like, watch, boom, boom. I'm like, oh boy. Yeah, I don't know anything about the martial arts. And then all of a sudden, guess what? I'm humbled again. I'm like, I got so much more to learn. Thank you. I'm happy again. It's like, I love being humbled. And that's why I like Rob. It's like, I love learning from, or being broken down, where it's like, okay, you knew it, but you don't know it.
Right.
I'm like, thank you. That makes me love it more. So I think that's humbling life, and I love that about martial arts, because it will humble you.
Oh, absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's always somebody out there that's bigger and stronger.
Yeah. That's what I love too.
The other part of it is Andy and I have been talking about taking dance classes together, or something together. We want to do something together that we both enjoy, that's a little bit physical challenging, or whatever. And so we're doing this karate. We go on Thursday mornings at 9:30, and we have an hour of karate together, and she's doing the thing, and we laugh our asses off.
We have a blast. Yeah.
But then sometimes she gets really serious, and she's got this.
Depends on the week, Rob.
Yeah, she's
sometimes
super cute and
her to-
darling, but then she's like a little Wolverine all of a sudden, and you're just like, whoa.
That's where I'm like, she'd kick ass. I'm not worried
She really
about her.
would.
I'm like, I'm not worried about her.
But then also she won't let me like coast. She won't let me like, that wasn't good. That kick was again.
Nope, do it again.
Do it again.
No, she really, yeah.
She pushes me, and so it's something that we're doing together that is building our relationship and healthy for us, and I think it's making her more confident, because I'm a big person, and she's throwing me around. If she can throw this around, like, she's all right. She's going to be okay.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's an amazing thing. So I want to encourage, like, if you're thinking about looking for something to do as a couple, consider this. If you have kids, consider this. The other thing I want to put out there is, if you're looking for the physical activity, if you're looking for some exercise, rather than take a yoga class or maybe take a dance jazzercise class, consider this. There's a lot of applications that when I first got into karate, I never considered, because it was just like, I just want to be able to defend myself.
Yeah.
And it's endless, the opportunities to get in there. Now,
I agree with that entirely.
I wanted to talk about, Dave, as you are your dojo family. I'm going to call it that, because I've been in there when they're doing the classes, and man, everybody knows everybody. Everybody's kind of like working together. He's got a veteran in there that has severe PTSD, and he started just before I did, and now he's like I don't know what belt he is, but he's making tremendous progress.
Yep.
And I've asked him, I've just been like, bro, like, what are you doing in here? He's like, I'm in as often as possible. This is my place. This is where I come to work things out. The mental part of karate is so significant. It's more than a physical exercise. There's something about creating a strong mindset in karate that is it's the subtitle of every move. Tell me, Dave, when you're building these people, like, what are some of your customers, clients, pupils, like, what are some of the examples you've seen of this stronger mindset?
Okay, so the stronger mindset of some of these people, like here, I've watched kids grow. Like, I had this one kid, he was training with me for a couple, students have been with me for 10, 15 years or more. So this kid was with me for about 10 years, and it took him a long time. He was very shy. He let people push him around, kids push him around. And it was, I kid you not, when I see someone else and just go, no, I'm through. You're not doing that anymore. And just stand up. And I see that confidence just change. That's what the whole thing of martial arts to me is like, that's it. He didn't have to fight. He wasn't fighting. He just looked at this kid and goes, no more. And he came in and told me that story. I'm just like, oh my gosh, that's the world to me right there. Why I do my job. I've had people come back after years of training. Thank you. You changed my life. And I'm like, that blows my mind. Like, that's the whole point I do it for you, because you're like, you've been changing. I'm changing people, and I want to help people. It's not about like, oh, I'm here to, make a quick buck. No, I want to change people's lives. I want people to understand what they are doing and believe in themselves. And that's when I see that from start to middle to end, that means the world to me. And that's where I can gain motion, because I love just when I know I've changed someone's life.
Powerful.
Thank you for everything you've done. And to be honest, what really is awesome, and if they have to use it, I had a student that actually used martial arts. Like, I've had a few of them where they've used it. One of my students knocked a guy right out. Guy came up to push him. He hit him in the side of the head, and he was out. Fight was over already.
No kidding.
I had another student. He had to kick someone right in the gut. You know, I've had it happen, and when you hear that, you're like, that's what I want. You know, that I want to just. It's not about fighting, winning, or not. It's just believing in yourself. That's what I like about the martial arts, and that's what makes me excited. So.
One story in particular I want to reflect on is there's a gentleman, or a young man, I should say, in the dojo that was riding his one-wheel skateboard, you know, those ones, and he fell, and he had a significant brain injury. Like, you're done, buddy.
Oh, wow.
And they had to, like, he has a scar on the side of his head that goes clear up and around. Like, it's significant. It's not like a little micro incision. They had to get in there into his skull.
Drain his brain. He had to keep blood drained out of his brain.
Oh, no.
And this kid had been, and jump in here, David, you tell the story, but he had been a student for a while. Finish that story, would you?
So this kid, I love when I start kids at like a young age. He started, I'm guessing a little bit, 4-ish.
Oh, wow.
He's now 17, and maybe he's 15. I'm not sure on the birthday. A little off on that. But he is such one of my diehard students, and I love it because he's been injured. Kid you not, I think he actually knows, like, he understands his body, where the doctor said this injury is a 8-month, 9-month healing process. And I kid you not, this kid walked back in a month and a half, 2 months later. We're ready to go. The doctors approved me.
Whoa.
I'm like, how? And he goes, no, I'm just focused. I want to get back in here. So I think he actually helped his body heal. He like knows, he calmed it. He just relaxed. He focuses on certain things. This kid's been through a lot. This kid has actually a funny story. The kid he's telling me about, his name's Mason, and he actually just saved his life. And I was like, holy, really? And he almost got his pinky cut off. Kid you not, this happened 2 months ago, somewhere around there. And this kid's been through a lot. I'm like, dude, he broke his leg, head concussion. And this kid actually picked up a knife and came at him. Yeah, he blocked it. It was going to open his stomach. The knife would, there was like this big of a knife, this big, yeah. The knife came at him and he blocked it and almost cut his pinky right off. The bone stopped the knife from going into his gut.
Holy crap.
So I'm like, dude, I mean, it wasn't like it was like, I'm going to kill you kind of, but I don't know what the kid was thinking with the knife. I don't know. But this kid, I'm like, right there. That's why I do what I do.
Yeah.
Because he just saved his life. Yeah, his pinky was almost gone, but
it's better than life.
Yeah, it's better than his belly being
Right.
open. He almost got his belly open. But the knife, he blocked it. And I'm like, that's what I do for. That's my whole life right there.
And I think that physical conditioning, exercising, discipline, when you do get an injury, when something does happen that you are injured, you can recover better. You're in a place that if you weren't doing something, if you were just playing a Nintendo all day or whatever kids are playing these days, you're going to stay sick longer. You're going to be injured longer. And his recovery time and I've heard these injuries coming and going. This kid's recovery time is ridiculous. And he might be a genetic mutant. Who knows?
He could be. But I think it's part of martial arts related. I really do think it helps his body faster.
Oh, I believe that.
Yeah.
So there's the other point that I wanted to make is your ability to heal is based upon your current health. If a doctor comes at you and says you have this injury, you have this sickness, well, if you're on the verge of sickness all the time, your ability to recover is limited. Alec, you're a great example with your leg injury. Like, you were exercising before, you continue to exercise, and your recovery rate is kind of miraculous. And I believe karate could be a part of that, or whatever it is you choose, as long as you choose it. And stick with it. It doesn't matter. Just keep on learning the discipline, sticking with it, because your body is an amazing tool. And a lot of times doctors will tell you this is the thing, but if you have this discipline and you're already in good condition, okay, thanks, doc. Appreciate your opinion, but now I'm going to get back to doing my thing.
I agree with you, because doctors, they say certain things just to protect themselves.
They have to.
That's all they're doing. They're protecting themselves.
And David, let's say We've talked about the physical, the exercise aspect of it, the discipline and coordination part of it. We've talked about the spiritual part of it. We've talked about your gift to be able to communicate it clearly. We've talked about a lot of things about your art that I think are fundamental in understanding what karate is about. I didn't know this, but I just wanted to share. Did you know there's a difference between kung fu and karate?
Yes, I did.
Not very. Can you tell us quickly what the difference is?
So, okay, here, I'll be something fun. We have jiu-jitsu, we have a taekwondo, we have aikido, we have kempo, we have karate, we have kung fu. There's so many different styles out there that masters have started, and over the years, it's where if you want to do like the breakdown, basically it all originates really from one place. If you really go back, sort of the birthplace of martial arts is Shaolin Kempo. Okay, Shaolin, China, the Shaolin monks. Because these guys have been doing it for thousands of years. This is not anything really new for them. They've been doing it. So if you really just go back, yes, this master broke off and started this system. This master broke off and started this system. Like the difference between it's like, what do you want? You got Japanese style, which is more karate. Then you got the Kung Fu style, which is more Chinese. What it is what one person wanted to focus in on. Hey, I like kicking. That's where Taekwondo came from. They like kicks. They do all the flip kicks. They do these cool fancy kicks. Awesome. Aikido, joint manipulation. Judo, hip throws. Okay, so then you know, go down jiu-jitsu's ground fighting. They want to know. It's just what a master likes more to me. What I like too is I do it all. I'm like, I want to know everything about everything. So I love joint manipulations. I love throwing people. I love ground fighting. I like it all.
Well, the UFC has really done, because before, like you're saying, all these branches kind of went out, and the UFC is really kind of like, okay, let's sort through which one is actually worth it here.
Yeah. So.
Those early fights, you're like, this guy is a jiu-jitsu guy.
But he only did jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. And then this guy's a karate guy. They're dressed differently in the ring. You remember those days of the
UFC? They had the full uniforms.
Yeah. You see like these different styles coming together, and in this instance, this guy won. But in this instance, this guy was kind of like leading the way. There wasn't a clear better versus better. There was just, this is my...
Well, it's so... That whole story is so fascinating, because like jiu-jitsu kind of had a bad rap at the beginning. And then...
took so
Chuck
long.
Norris went down there, and he was like, got his ass kicked a few times by some 14-year-old kids. He's like, I think I need to bring this back. And then we get to the UFC. All of a sudden, everybody's hands. And then the guy, is it Hoist Gracie that was
Gracie, that's where Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
And then all of a sudden, this little 180-pound guy is ripping him apart. And then all of a sudden, it was like, oh, wait a minute. That's and now jiu-jitsu is a staple point.
You shouldn't. 96% of all fights go to the ground.
Right.
96.
And I think that karate is kind of interesting, because the story, and this is my observation as an outsider, right? Karate gets a bad rap because, in my mind, karate has two kind of segments to it. We have kids karate. That's not about fighting. We talked about this earlier. That's discipline. That's learning your body and whatnot. Karate as an actual fighting discipline is completely different. So karate got kind of a bad rap. Oh, that doesn't work in fighting.
Life,
And then this guy named Wonderboy Thompson came along and said, oh, no, really, it does.
Yeah, and proved that it works.
Proved. Now, why is he, because you see karate elements coming out. Connor used to. He doesn't quite so much anymore. He was full karate stance. That's where he started from.
The wide stance,
What makes Wonderboy so special that he can, because he's basically all karate.
I don't think it's just make him wonderful. There's a mindset. I think people have a mindset. Like, he went in there going, I know martial arts. I know karate. But he also wasn't afraid.
Yeah.
He goes, I'm going to go for it. That's a lot of people. It's like, I've been training people, even me. I've been trained forever. But what still people get in their heads is something comes at them. What's our normal human nature to do?
Run away.
Duck and run
or hide behind your own arms. What we're trying to train people to do, karate, whatever, is someone throws a punch, I'm going for you.
Step it in.
You don't back up. You go straight in, but you got to keep your eyes up too. And the difference, I think, between someone is, belief. I guarantee he believes in himself more. But at the exact same time, he was going in there going, I'm going to get hit. I'm going to take some beating. But he wasn't afraid. A lot of people are afraid. Like, I have students. The neatest thing I've learned about martial arts is, we teach. Let's say teach martial arts, but let me go vary from that. It's like shooting a gun. You know how people are like, I'm going to get a gun to protect myself. Okay, let me ask you a real question. Have you shot a gun? Yeah, I've shot a few times. Could you shoot somebody? Well, martial arts is sort of the same thing where, yeah, I've taught you to punch in the air. I taught you to punch a bag. But can you really punch somebody? Can you really actually do, like, if you had to? I asked this one lady one time, I was doing a women's self-defense class. And it's knowing that you can do it. Like, I was teaching 14-year-old girls and, so a young woman's class. And I don't like to use the word, but it's like, we know there's people out there. It's like, what happens if a rapist came?
Right.
Total predator.
Okay? Yeah, total predator. And that's what his intention was. Okay? Could you, if they're right there, could you put your thumb in their eye and rip it out? And they're like, oh, that's gross. That's disgusting. I'm like, could you? No, I couldn't. That's the mindset I'm trying to get to. Going back to everything we just talked about is, could you really do it? Okay, because some people are like, oh, I could never reach in and grab that. I'm like, well, then they're going to do other things then too. Because can you really hit somebody? Can you really eye gouge somebody? Because I'm going to tell you right now, I can.
Yeah.
That one, there's no hesitation. I'd be like, I'll rip your eye out. Yep, that's not a problem for me.
That's a really good point. The game changes a little bit when it's real. It's
Yeah.
one thing to go through these,
Yeah.
but there's another rule set that we don't practice these in the in the dojo,
Yep.
right? But like Annie, for an example, having the confidence, you hit him in the junk as hard as you possibly can.
Rip him off.
Technique doesn't matter.
Yep.
Whatever you can get there, knock it out.
Yep, but the thing is, fight.
Right.
It's weird to say. Like, I've read articles about all the predators kind of stuff happening, and I remember this one article. The guy goes, the predator goes, they freeze. That's what I want.
Yep.
Now I don't have to worry about anything. He's in prison. There's nothing he can do. But that's what he spoke out, going, that's what I look for. But when you get a person that fights, it doesn't matter if they're just playing around doing nothing. If they fight, throwing arm punches, throwing kicks or punches, they just won't let it stop. They keep fighting. The predator goes, oh, crap, I don't want this.
Move on
I'm
to the
out of
next
here.
one.
I'm out of
Yeah.
here because guess what? Nowadays, DNA.
Right.
That's easy to get now. One scratch, you got person's DNA now. Okay, you got spit, saliva, hair, DNA. It's so easy to catch a person nowadays. Predators are like, well, if I can't get what I want it, I'm out of here as fast as possible.
Well, and most predators they're weak men. They're doing this for
power.
For power.
Yep.
And it's not the guys that you really have to worry about. And you're exactly right. You show some sort of fight that I'm not taking this, they're not gonna. They're gonna turn right around.
They're like, okay, let's go for some other prey.
Right.
Yep,
They're trying to find the weak. That's what they're doing. That's why the person is circling around 5 or 6 times around the parking lot, trying to figure
Let's
out
see if
how
that-
weak you actually are. You paying attention?
Do you get scared?
Right.
Or,
Or what's
We're
going
looking
on?
at your phone. That's what people do. Let's look at our phone. I'm like, dude, get off your phone.
Get off your phone and put your eyes up.
Yep.
There's study after study. Just walking down the street, if you make eye contact,
Oh, yes, twice.
it
Yeah,
almost
huge.
stops the threat because they think you're paying attention to them.
Yep.
Now I know your face,
Yep.
what it looks like.
Eye contact, like you said, if being the confident enough to look in someone's eyes, people can't. How many people don't do that nowadays?
Scares the hell out of
Everyone?
people.
Oh my gosh, they can't. Oh, hey, how you doing? It's
Yeah.
good,
If you want to have a good time, go to the grocery store, smile, and look at people. Say hello.
Yeah.
Oh, I do that all the
freaks them right
time.
out.
Whoa, hey, how you doing?
How you doing?
Yeah, they're like, people are
What?
caught off guard that you say hi.
Yeah.
So,
I was just a quick side note. I went to school in Wisconsin, and it's old school up there. If you're walking down the street 2 blocks, you're going to make 2 stops and have 2 20-minute conversations to get there, and it throws you off.
How you doing today?
Yeah, how's it going?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're going out on the boat today. You know,
The boat.
the boat.
we have to sit there at the gym and go, okay, all right, let's go kick some booty because otherwise we all just talk. We're like, okay, we need to work out.
That's awesome.
Well, Master Garvey, I sure appreciate you sharing your story, the discipline, the why, the drive, and the whole thing. If you were to be able to look back at the young Master Garvey, that boy that just overcame his fear, what advice would you give that young man?
I wish I started earlier. No, deny. 8,
Yeah.
I wish I started at 5. I got an instructor with me, Colin. He started at 3. And he's flourishing. I'm just like, dang, dude, you got this going. I really like it.
That kid's going places. He's tall. He's good looking.
Yeah.
He's got the confidence. He's got a full head of hair. I hate him.
You know, and here
He's amazing.
It's always the hair for you, isn't
It's
it?
the hair.
You know what? you're to give any advice and for anybody to help out, like we talked about, open-minded.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna be honest. I have a great crew that works with me. I got a lady. I got Colin. I got a lady Jessie, and these instructors are just been amazing with me because they're there to help me, and they put up a lot of my shit too. So, and I'm gonna be these guys have always, they've been my back, and it's like be open-minded. Like my wife, she helped me out a lot too. She's been an amazing lady for me, and she's like my backbone, and I love it because I had opened my mind, and like we were talking, Rob and me, I had to humble myself in certain ways too. And this crew that I have, they put me back in my spot, and I'm like, thank you guys. I need that once in a while. They're like, stop being a pighead. You don't know everything. I'm like, I need that. Thank you. My wife, she's just the same way. She's like, you need to be open, you need to take advice too. You need to stop being a stubborn ass. And I'm like, that's what I need. So out of anything, what I wish I, open is just, I'm open-minded about learning with people. And I wish I wasn't so stubborn back in the day.
So smart.
Yeah, I knew everything.
Yeah.
You said something, though, that we didn't quite touch on yet that's very important. If you want to go and make friends, the martial arts community is one of the most welcoming, open-armed communities that you will ever find. It really is something special, and you do make lifelong friends doing it.
Yeah.
Weird, there's no judgment either.
None.
Like, I'm wearing a white belt,
No
and this
ego.
little girl is wearing a black belt, and she's just like, hey, Rob.
Come on, let's work out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's there's a very significant lack of ego in the martial
You all
arts.
actually become, it's like we say, gym friends, karate friends.
Right.
I mean, it's like a little bit of a family there too. Because we all just have fun together. They let me yell at them. That's fun. So, all right, watch this technique. I punch them a little bit. They get to punch me a little bit. To be honest, one of the best stress reliefs ever too. I'm weird. I like to be beat a little bit.
It's a cool feeling to
I
know
do.
that you can get hit in the face and it's going to be okay.
Yeah, you're all right.
You're not made of glass.
Yeah. When someone hits me, I'm like, okay, I'm happy.
His
And then I
karate
get hit
classes, he draws on the board. This is what you're going to do. And there's like these 13-year-old boys are like, nice drawing there, Master Garvey. Like, they're talking some trash.
Oh, yeah, they trash on it.
And I'm just like, this is awesome. This is
Yeah.
really cool. It's like, reminds me of like those youth groups I was a part of that really helped me form the man I've become. It's amazing. One of the things that I kind of want to end on
Go ahead.
is that as I wait to do my karate class, I sit there and there's a gal that's before me, and there's always someone that's getting dressed to leave. And I was sitting there, and there was a gentleman that he's 80. Who cares?
He's older.
80.
He's older, yep.
And I said, are you here picking someone up? He's like, no, I'm a student here. He said, I had to take some time off because I had an open heart surgery and the thing and the deal. And I'm sitting next to this guy, and I'm thinking, what are you doing? You know me, I'm always curious, like, what is going on? And tell me about that. And he's like, well, I waited until I was in my 50s to get started doing karate. He's like, I wished I would have started sooner. My flexibility, my coordination. He says, men my age are dying because they're sitting there and they're wasting away. And this guy's 80 years old, and he's showing up. And I didn't see him do karate. I didn't see what he was doing, but he was there.
Right.
The common message that I get throughout and over again is, don't wait. Do it today. Don't make an excuse. Sign up for something. If it's not karate, then something. Sign up to defend yourself. Create that flexibility. Create the strength and confidence that you deserve. Don't wait. You deserve to feel good and have confidence in your body and your presence. I want to put this message out there that if you're interested in learning more about karate, kempo, any of the things, that Master Garvey is a great teacher, and he is an example to me in the community, in his being a father, as a husband, in all these different areas that I admire him so very much. And so I recommend him at the highest level to everyone that's watching the American Masterminds. But my sphere of influence, my friends and family, I highly recommend Master Garvey as an example in more than just how to defend yourself. I'm grateful that you were able to come on our podcast
I'm
today.
glad you guys came in on weekend for me. Appreciate you on that too.
Absolutely.
Worth it. Worth it. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please leave a comment. We'd love to read your comment here on the air and send you props in the love your way. If you have suggestions or someone that you think would be a good fit for the podcast, let us know. Be sure that you are liking and sharing. Every one of these podcasts is a work of love as we learn and grow, create stronger mindsets, create stronger bodies, friendships, and business, all the things in life that really matter. Thank you for tuning in to the American Masterminds. Hope you have a great weekend. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.